Welcome to HFY, kids, where stars remember. Hearts of humans and stars of aliens beat together. And every story is born where the universe learns to dream. The rain didn't stop all morning. People moved quickly under broken lights and old street signs. In the middle of this alien market, a small figure stood still. She was just a girl, thin arms, torn clothes, big silver eyes. She looked lost, scared, and wet from head to toe. No one noticed her. No one cared, except one man. He was walking with his hands in his pockets. Eyes tired, beard rough. A human alone, like always. The girl stepped in front of him and raised a tiny hand. She held out a small pouch. Shaking. "Please, sir," she whispered. "Here's $7. I just need a dad for one day." He stopped, blinked. "What?" "Just pretend. Please, for one day," she said, voice almost shaking. He looked at the coins. Not human money, but still real. She clutched the pouch tightly, as if it was all she had. He frowned, looking around. "Where's your real father?" She looked down. Said nothing. He sighed. "I'm not good with kids." The girl looked up at him, water dripping from her silver hair. "I'll be quiet. I promise." The man stared at her. Something in her voice reminded him of an old ache, a memory he didn't want to remember. He nodded slowly. "Just 1 hour. That's it." Her face lit up like a star. She grabbed his hand quickly, like she had done it before. "Walk with me," she said. "Just walk like we're family." They started walking through the market. People looked at them differently. Now some smiled, some stared. The girl leaned against him like she belonged there. He didn't know what he was doing. This was strange, but somehow it felt okay. Then he noticed something strange. A tall man in a black mask followed them, then another. And another. "Do you know them?" he asked quietly. The girl stiffened. "No, keep walking." He turned into a side alley. The girl followed. They hid behind a crate, breath fast. The masked men passed by slowly, scanning faces. "They're hunters," she whispered. "Not from here. Not from your world. What do they want?" he asked. She looked down at her hands, opened her palm. A soft blue light glowed from her skin, swirling like smoke trapped in glass. His eyes widened. "What are you?" "I don't know," she said. "But they think I'm important." He stepped back, confused and angry. "I just agreed to pretend. I didn't sign up for." "Please," she said again. Softer now. "Just one day. Please." The blue light faded, but her eyes begged louder than words. The man looked out at the street again, saw more shadows coming. He had a choice: leave her and walk away, or stay and risk everything. He looked down at the girl again. She had only $7 and too much fear in her tiny heart. He sighed, then grabbed her hand tight. "All right, kid," he muttered. "You've got yourself a dad just for today." And they ran into the rain, hand in hand, with danger chasing close behind. The man and the alien girl ran through puddles. The street behind them echoed with heavy boots. The masked hunters were still following. "Faster now. Keep running," the man said, holding her hand tight. They turned left into a narrow path filled with smoke and blinking wires. Sector 9 was the old repair zone, broken, quiet, almost forgotten. Robots lay dead in piles, and flickering lights buzzed in silence. "This way," he said, pulling her behind a large rusted machine. They ducked low, breathing hard. The girl's small chest rose and fell quickly. "I thought they'd stop if I had a dad," she said quietly. He looked at her. "They don't care about family. They want you, because of what's in me," she asked, looking at her hand again. A faint blue glow still pulsed there, soft but alive. He nodded slowly. "What is that? A weapon?" She shook her head. "I don't know. It started after my real dad disappeared." The man watched her carefully. There was something strange about her. Not just her powers. Not just her eyes, but her sadness, her silence. It felt old, like she had been alone for a very long time. "We need to hide better," he said. "They'll sweep this sector soon." He led her through broken panels, under crashed ships and loose pipes. Finally, they crawled into an old service tunnel, dark, wet, and tight. Inside, the girl shivered but didn't complain. The man lit a small light from his wristwatch. "Do you have a name?" he asked. She looked up. "Zuri." "All right, Zuri," he said. "I'm Cal." She smiled a little. "That sounds like a hero's name." Cal laughed, just once. "I'm no hero." They sat in silence for a few minutes, listening to distant footsteps above them. Zuri spoke again. "Do you have a family, Cal?" He paused, then whispered, "I had a daughter once." "What happened?" "She got sick. I couldn't fix it," he said. Voice low, Zuri leaned against him without a word. It was quiet, until a sharp beep sounded from Cal's watch. Someone had triggered a scanner nearby. "They're close," he said, standing quickly. "We need to move." Zuri followed him through the tunnel until they reached a dead end. A large metal door sealed shut. Red lights blinking. "Can you open that?" she asked. Cal reached into his belt pouch, pulled out an old device. "This will work." "I hope." He pressed it to the door. Sparks flew. Zuri looked behind them. Shadows moved through the tunnel. She stepped back in fear, her hand glowing again, but this time, her glow pulsed faster, brighter. It lit up the whole tunnel like a star. Cal turned just as the door opened. "Let's go." They jumped through the door and slammed it shut behind them. Now they were inside a forgotten chamber, full of junk ships. Cal turned to her, still breathing hard. "What is that light, Zuri?" he asked. She looked down, scared. "It listens when I'm afraid," she whispered. "But I don't know what it is." Outside, banging began on the door. "They're not stopping," Cal said. "We have to leave this sector. But where will we go?" He looked at her, then at the sky through a broken ceiling window. "There's an old scrapyard outside the city," he said. "No one goes there. We'll hide there tonight." Zuri nodded, holding his hand again. Cal didn't pull away this time. She wasn't his real daughter. But something inside him felt like maybe she could be, not just for today, but maybe forever. The scrapyard was quiet. Rusty ships lay like broken bones under the fading sun. Sharp wind blew dust across the ground. Cal pushed open the metal gate and led Zuri inside. "This place smells like burnt wires," she whispered. Holding her nose, Cal smiled a little. "That's how you know it's safe. No one wants to come here." They found an old shuttle with a cracked roof and dusty seats. Cal used his tools to power up the lights and heat. The cabin flickered to life, warm and dim. Zuri sat on the floor, looking around with wide eyes. "Is this your home?" "No," he replied, setting down his bag. "But it'll work for now." Zuri curled up in the corner, her silver eyes scanning the ceiling. "What do human dads usually do?" she asked suddenly. Cal looked up, surprised. "What do you mean?" She played with the edge of her sleeve. "I never had one." "I want to know how it works." He scratched his head. "Well, they tell stories, fix things, protect their kids, I guess." "Do they make soup?" she asked, hopeful. Cal chuckled. "Sometimes." Zuri smiled shyly. "Then can you make soup too?" He found a food pot and heated it in the small stove. As steam rose, he handed her a warm bowl. She sipped slowly, as if it was a treasure. "This is the best soup I ever had," she whispered. "You've only had one," he joked. But her smile made the room feel warmer than the heater. After dinner, Zuri sat near the corner with a blanket. Her eyes grew heavy, but her voice stayed soft. "Cal, if someone pays a dad for one day, does that mean he has to leave when the day ends?" He froze, not knowing how to answer. "That was the deal, right?" she said, voice sleepy. "Just one day." He looked at her, then at the stars outside the cracked window. "I guess deals can change," he whispered. But she was already asleep. Later that night, Cal couldn't rest. He walked outside and stared at the sky. He thought about his real daughter. Mia gone for years now. He'd shut his heart since then. Lived like a ghost, but now, this little alien girl had brought something back. Something he thought was dead. Suddenly, a soft sound came from the darkness. He turned fast, weapon drawn. A shadow moved near the broken fence. 2 of the masked hunters were there. He rushed back inside, heart pounding. "Zuri, wake up," he said, gently shaking her. She opened her eyes. "Is it morning?" "No. We need to move again." She stood quickly, her glow returning faintly. "They found us?" "Yes." Before they could escape, a low voice came from outside, through a small speaker. "Give us the girl." "She is not yours." Cal stood in front of her. "You're wrong," he said through clenched teeth. "She is now." The door shook as something hit it hard. Zuri grabbed his hand tightly. "I'm scared." Cal looked at her glowing hand, then at the shaking door. He wasn't running this time. If they wanted her, they'd have to go through him. Even if he was just a dad for hire tonight, he'd be something more. He looked at her, heart steady now. "You're not alone anymore," he said. "Not as long as I'm breathing." The wind howled through the broken metal walls of the scrapyard. Zuri sat quietly under a blanket, her small hand still glowing. Cal stood at the door, gripping a rusted plasma tool like a weapon. The banging had stopped, but the silence was worse. Then came the voice again, calm, cold, and commanding. "You are protecting something you don't understand, human." Cal didn't reply. He scanned the walls, looking for an escape path. Zuri whispered, "They won't leave until they take me." "I'm not handing you over," Cal said. "Not now, not ever." He pulled open a trapdoor under the shuttle and helped Zuri climb in. It led to a tunnel from the war days old, dusty, but still useful. They crawled through, inch by inch, above them. Heavy boots stomped through the shuttle. The masked soldiers had entered, scanning with red lights. But Cal and Zuri were already gone, moving beneath their feet like shadows. After an hour, they reached an abandoned hangar buried under dirt and metal. Cal sealed the door and fell to the floor, exhausted. Zuri was shaking now, but not from fear, from something else. "Zuri, what's wrong?" he asked, worried. "My chest. It burns," she gasped, holding her side. A strange blue light pulsed through her veins like glowing vines. Cal pulled out an old med scanner and checked her pulse. What he saw made his heart freeze. Her blood was not normal, not alien, not even fully organic. It was mixed with nanotech and something ancient. "Zuri, your DNA," he whispered, staring at the scanner. "It's not just royal. It's coded." She looked at him with tired eyes. "What does that mean?" "It means your blood is a key," he said, shocked, to something locked away, something big. Suddenly, the scanner blinked red. It had picked up a hidden signal tracking them. Before Cal could react, the wall behind them exploded. 3 armored soldiers stepped in with electric spears raised. "By royal command." "Hand over the heir," said one with a helmet shaped like a bird. Zuri gasped. "Heir? I'm not a princess." "You were never told the truth," the soldier replied. "Your father hid you. But your blood never lies." Cal stood in front of her, holding the plasma tool like a sword. "Touch her, and I'll break your bones," he growled. The soldiers laughed until Zuri stepped forward. Her eyes glowing pure white now. She wasn't crying. She wasn't scared anymore. She raised her hand and the glow burst like lightning. Throwing the soldiers backward, Cal pulled her behind cover and yelled, "What did you do?" "I don't know," she said. "It just happened. You need to control it." "I can't." But even with no control, her power saved them, just for a moment. The soldiers retreated, calling for backup. Cal and Zuri ran again, this time deeper into the tunnels. Zuri was breathing hard, her glow fading slowly. "They said I'm a key. What does that mean?" Cal looked at her, then at the scanner still blinking in his hand. "It means you're not just a lost girl. You're the last piece of something the galaxy forgot. But what if I don't want to be?" she asked. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we choose our own path, above them." The sky shook as more ships entered orbit. The hunt wasn't over. It had only just begun. The tunnel ended in silence. Cal and Zuri climbed out into an old greenhouse hidden behind a junk wall. Long dead plants filled the glass room. Their leaves frozen in dust, sunlight broke through the cracks, making Zuri's glow flicker in soft blue pulses. She sat on a broken crate, exhausted. Cal checked the med scanner again. Her vitals were stable, but her energy was draining fast. "We need answers," he said, more to himself than her. "There's someone," Zuri said quietly. "My real dad's friend. He once hid me here. Where is he now?" She pointed west. "In the ruins. His name is Dr. Kez." Without a word, Cal helped her up, and together they moved through the abandoned streets. The ruins were cold and silent, like a city waiting to wake up from a long nightmare. They reached a half-collapsed tower, where an old lab still hummed with backup power. A tall alien man with silver skin and glass eyes stepped out of the shadows. He looked at Zuri, then gasped, dropping his tools. "You survived," he whispered. "I thought they got you." Zuri ran to him and hugged his waist. "Dr. Kez, this is Cal. He helped me. He's kind of my dad now." Cal raised an eyebrow, but didn't argue. Kez brought them inside. The lab was filled with strange machines and data crystals. He scanned Zuri's blood and read the results with trembling hands. "It's true," he whispered. "The Empress's child. The final code carrier." Cal frowned. "What does that mean?" Kez turned slowly. "Zuri's body holds a genetic key coded into her blood at birth. Her mother, the Empress, planned to lock the throne engine so no one could use it after the war." "What's a throne engine?" Cal asked, confused. "It's not just a throne," Kez replied. "It's a system. A machine that controls hundreds of planets' military orders, defense grids, war drones. If someone takes it, they control everything." Zuri stared at her glowing hand, shocked. "So I'm just a password?" she said, voice trembling. "No," Kez said softly. "You are more than that. You are the rightful heir, but they want to use you. Drain your code. Replace the Empress." Zuri turned to Cal. "I don't want any of this. I just wanted a dad. I just wanted soup and stories." Cal sat beside her, voice low. "You didn't ask for this. But it's part of you now. And I won't let anyone take that from you." Kez handed Cal a small chip, glowing softly. "This holds her mother's final message. I was ordered to give it to Zuri if she ever came back." Zuri took it with shaking hands. She pressed it into a reader, and a hologram lit up. The Empress appeared tall, fierce, but her voice was warm. "My daughter, if you are hearing this, I am gone. But know this, you were never just born to rule. You were born to choose. I hid you not to keep you safe, but to give you a chance to live free." The message faded. Silence returned. Zuri wiped her eyes. Cal gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not just a code. You're a kid. And if you still want a dad, I'm staying." Her lips trembled. Then she smiled and leaned against him, but the moment didn't last. A sharp alarm blared inside the lab. Kez turned pale. "They found us. A fleet is entering orbit, 20 ships, maybe more." Zuri's glow returned brighter than before. She stood tall, eyes steady, voice calm. "Then I won't run anymore. I'll choose. I'll fight if I have to." And beside her, Cal rose too, ready to face whatever came next. Together, the sky above the ruins turned red from the cracked roof of the lab. Cal and Zuri watched enemy ships arrive fast, silent, deadly. Dr. Kez sealed the doors and activated the last defense field. It won't hold long, he warned. You have maybe an hour. Zuri stood near the console, hands glowing faintly again. Her breath was steady now, but her eyes showed deep fear. I don't want to be a queen, she whispered. I just wanted one good day. Cal knelt beside her, looking into her tired face. You gave me that day, Zuri, he said. But I'm not going anywhere, even if it costs me. She stared at him, her throat tight. You're serious? I've buried one daughter, Cal said quietly. I'm not losing another. Her eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. Instead, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. For a long second, nothing moved. Then came the sound metal landing gear scraping the stone above them. They're here, Kez said, his voice shaking. Cal turned to the lab's emergency exit, an old underground tunnel that led outside the city. You two go, Kez said. I'll hold them as long as I can. No, Zuri said suddenly. Stepping forward, we stay together, but Cal grabbed her hand. We're not ready to fight them yet. We run, we plan. We survive. They escaped through the tunnel just as the roof exploded behind them. Running through old passageways, they reached the forest ruins on the city's edge. Zuri collapsed behind a fallen tree. Breathing hard, her glow flickered wildly now, sparking like lightning beneath her skin. I can't control it, she cried. It's growing too fast. Cal pulled off his coat and wrapped it around her shoulders. Close your eyes, he said softly. Breathe. Count to 10 with me. She hesitated, then followed his voice. 1, 2, 3. With each number, the sparks faded. 4, 5, 6. Her hands stopped shaking. 7, 8, 9. The glow dimmed gently, resting under her skin again. 10, Cal said, and smiled. See? You're stronger than it. Zuri opened her eyes slowly, whispering. That worked. How? I used to do it for my daughter when she got scared, he said, voice distant. Zuri nodded. Then it's ours now. Our secret trick, just then. A drone passed overhead, scanning the forest. They stayed low until it flew off. Cal knew time was running out. They couldn't hide forever. Not from a fleet that wanted a child to power a throne. He turned to Zuri, serious now. You said you didn't want a throne, he said. But what if claiming it is the only way to stop this? She was quiet for a long time. I don't want to rule, she said softly. But if I take the throne, maybe I can break it. End it forever. That's not a choice a child should have to make, he said. But I'm not just a child anymore, she whispered. Not after today. Cal reached into his bag and pulled out a small silver pin. It was old, dented, shaped like a star. My daughter used to wear this, he said. It's yours now. If you want it. Zuri took it in her hands, holding it gently. She pinned it to her cloak and smiled. I like it. Makes me feel like I belong somewhere. You do, Cal said, right here. With me. They stood together as night fell over the broken world, not just as strangers or a girl and a protector, but as a family, and tomorrow they would face the Empire together. Morning came with fire in the sky. The enemy fleet hovered above the capital ruins, black like shadows of doom. Soldiers in silver armor marched through the streets, their mission clear. Find the girl. Activate the throne engine, and all resistance. But deep beneath the surface, Zuri stood with Cal and Dr. Kez before an ancient door engraved with strange symbols and glowing veins. This is it, Kez whispered, the core of the throne engine. Only her blood can open it. Zuri's hands trembled. Her glow returned, not in fear, but in acceptance. I don't want to rule, she said. I just want peace. Cal looked at her proudly. Then let's finish this your way. She stepped forward and placed her palm on the glowing door. A soft chime rang through the chamber. The door opened with a slow hum, revealing a massive chamber filled with floating screens and ancient machines humming like a heartbeat. In the center stood the throne, a crystal chair wrapped in wires. Lights and energy. Before she could move, alarms screamed. Enemy soldiers dropped through the roof, 20 of them. Armed and ready, the lead commander stepped forward. Tall, scarred, his voice sharp. "You've done well, girl. Now sit on the throne. Fulfill your role." Zuri stepped back. "I won't," she said, voice steady. The commander raised his weapon. "Then we take it from your corpse." Before he could fire, Cal stepped in front of her. "No one touches her," he growled, holding a stolen blaster. The soldiers fired. Cal moved fast, returning shots. Ducking behind pillars, Zuri screamed, her hand glowing bright again. Cal was hit in the side. He fell to the floor, blood staining his coat. "No!" Zuri shouted, running to him. He smiled through the pain. "Still here." "Kiddo." Tears filled her eyes, but her glow exploded brighter than ever. The entire chamber lit up blue, every machine awakening at once. The soldiers were thrown back by a wave of energy. Stunned and dropped, Zuri stood in front of the throne, her body floating inches off the ground. The machine responded to her, showing memories. Wars, her mother's last moments. She saw everything and made a choice. She raised her hand and whispered, "End program. Shut it down." Forever. The throne engine pulsed, flashed, and then powered down completely. A deep silence filled the air. Zuri floated down slowly, her glow fading to a gentle spark. She ran to Cal and dropped beside him. "You stayed," she cried. "Even when you were hurt." He coughed and smiled. "I promised. Just one day. But I guess it wasn't enough." She held his hand tight. "Then don't stop. Stay forever." His eyes closed gently. For a moment, she feared the worst, but then he whispered, "Deal." Dr. Kez arrived, scanning Cal and treating the wound quickly. "You'll live," he said, "barely. But you're too stubborn to die anyway." Zuri laughed through her tears. Hugging Cal as the dust settled, the fleet above began to leave. The throne was gone. Its power broken. No one could control the galaxy anymore. But one girl, with $7 and too much heart, had changed everything. Later, as the sun set, Cal and Zuri walked through the old city. Side by side, she wore a small star pin on her cloak, and he walked with a limp but smiling. "Still want soup?" he asked. "Only if you tell me a story with it." She grinned. He nodded. "Once upon a time, a little girl bought a father with $7 and turned him into a hero," she finished. They walked on, hand in hand, no longer pretending. Because one day wasn't enough. Not for a bond that was real. Not for a dad who chose to stay. Forever. Asterisk. You've been listening to HFY Kids, where even after the story ends, the stars keep whispering and the heart still glows.